Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. A bit of a different layout today. I tried to address a few issues that you let me know in the comments. And again, we're trying to improve the content every single video. So I'll be getting back to every single comment in this video. Today we'll be doing a team selection along with a few of my thoughts on captaincies and triple captain if you own Haaland. This video is sponsored by Fantasy Football Scout. There is a link in the description, so be sure to check it out if you want to sign up. And our goal for this video is 350 likes. Last video absolutely smashed it, so we'll keep going until we stop reaching those numbers. So let's get straight into the video. A bit different this time. The comments were phenomenal on the last video. The feedback was really good, and I'm trying to take all of it on board that I can. So a few of the things that were mentioned was I was speaking a bit too fast, which I can understand. I'm still a bit not camera shy, but I'm getting used to just sitting here and being comfortable. Another thing was that the graphics were a small bit blurry, so I tried to fix it today. Shout out to FPL Templates, who I got this kind of template off. But yeah, this is what we're going to be using going forward. I really like the design, so let me know what you think in the comments. But I suppose we'll start with the team. So on goal, we've got Dean Henderson. Again, in that first game, they lost 2-1 to Brentford. But my expectation is not too high for a 4.5 keeper for Crystal Palace. Again, we've seen Joachim Andersen leave Crystal Palace for Fulham, which is quite interesting. I don't know how that will affect the defence going forward, but I do know, in my opinion, I think they're trying to sign a fast French centre-half. I can't remember his name. But I think that will affect them going forward very well. They'll be able to play a higher line, which I can see the picture that Glasner is trying to paint. Maybe I could be wrong there, but I think for the attacking assets, a high line is always good, and it can create or open up less space for the opposition to get out of. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Let's get into our three defenders. So our three at the back this week are Trent Robinson and Pedro Porro. Now I know Pedro Porro had a little bit of an injury scare with his ankle, but again I didn't make too much of it. And I think he was seen in training yesterday with the group, so not too worried about that. We have Robinson, who is the pick of the week this week. Everyone seems to be bringing him in after that Kwanzaa injury. Or not Kwanzaa injury, but Kwanzaa's minutes being reduced. He got subbed at half time. And definitely a good move going to Robinson. And he plays Ipswich next week, so definitely makes sense. And I think, like, from my expectation for that Leicester at home game, Leicester weren't the greatest against Tottenham. Of course, Vardy did score, but you'd expect Robinson to do quite well in that game, and he is very attacking, so maybe you might come up with an assist. And I think Fulham are top 4 on the bookies clean sheet rating, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a clean sheet. Next we have Trent, who, like I said, probably one of the best assets in the game. We've seen in that first game week how good he can be, and against Brentford, it's a very physical team, so you mightn't see as many crosses, but if they give Trent space, I mean, he's going to hurt him. And now, I would say Brentford are really good at manipulating space where the opposition fullbacks leave open. So I think Mbeumo could hurt Liverpool, but I think if Liverpool can nail that down and tactically suffocate Brentford, I think they'll be fine in that game. And you'd be hoping for a clean sheet, and attacking threat on top of that would be great. So let's move on to our midfield 5. So our midfield 5 consists of Nkunku, Salah, Son, Bruno Fernandes and Diogo Jota. I suppose we'll start with Nkunku. Last night he played, I think it was a Conference League game. It was quite unusual to see midweek, but before playing Wolves away. Now Nkunku played, I think, 58 minutes, scored a penalty, and Palmer wasn't on the pitch and got subbed off. So for me, the way I look at that, maybe I'm a hopeful Nkunku owner, but I think it's always good if a player's getting minutes, and I'm not too worried about him being benched against Wolves. I think it was a good thing that he got the minutes, and he's starting to look more fresh. Again, Nkunku will be hoping he plays centrally this time round. Against City, he played on the wing. My expectations versus City weren't too high. That's why I benched him. But I think looking at that Wolves fixture, it is a nice one at the Molineux. And maybe, hopefully, we see a return. That one other thing to note from that game they played last night was that Palmer looked like he got a bit of a knock to his thigh. I'm not sure how big of a deal it is, but as an Nkunku owner, if Palmer is out, he will be on penalties. So let's see what happens with that. Next, we'll move on to Bruno Fernandes. Now, again, another player I've always been high on, and I feel like we were quite unfortunate as Bruno owners not to get a return in that game week 1. But Brighton away, not a bad fixture at all. I'm unsure how Brighton are going to look this season. I feel like that first game might have been a bit of an outlier. They were very, very good, and it was a bit of a surprise result. But their manager is very young, and I can't imagine that everything is just going to click at the start of the season for Brighton. So let's see how they perform against United. But yeah, as a Bruno owner, I'm happy to kind of cling on to him for a bit longer. I know they have Liverpool next week, but then they have Southampton away. So you'd like to hope that before we go into that difficult Liverpool fixture, he can get some sort of return against Brighton. Next is Diogo Jota. For me, my decision to go with him this season was when he is fit, he's most likely going to play, and when he plays, he does very, very well. I liked what I saw from him in that first game versus Ipswich. He missed a crucial header, and of course he did score. So very happy to own Jota, as I know a lot of managers were put off by him due to the minutes risk with Nunes. But we didn't see Nunes feature in that first game. We saw Cody Gakpo instead. So Brentford at home, like I said, could be a very, very good fixture. So next we have Salah and Son. But I kind of want to speak about them over our new captaincy slide. So here it is. Let me know what you think of it. I quite like it. But yeah, so we're going to discuss Haaland triple captain and Haaland versus Salah as a captain in general. First, we'll start off with the Haaland triple captain. Now, Ipswich at home, I don't need to explain it too much, but it's probably one of the best fixtures in the league. And especially for City, who you can see any scoreline in that game. But I thought Ipswich were quite good against Liverpool in that first half. Maybe we can see something similar against City. But yeah, Haaland's triple captain is definitely on the cards. Now, a lot of the reasons would be that he's fully fit. I know we've seen a few comments about him speaking, and he was saying that this is one of the fittest he's ever felt. And also, we don't know how the end of the season or later in the season is going to look. Whether that's fixtures-wise or even how fit he's going to be and how City will be lining up. I know Ben Crellin did speak about some of the double game weeks and blank game weeks that we'll have in the future. I think there's projected about 2 double game weeks and 1 blank game week. But yeah, so my general consensus would be it's always better to keep it for a double. But I know a lot of people would like to just get it out of the way. And out of the 3 chips is probably the weakest out of the 3. So it's definitely not a bad opportunity to pull the trigger on that. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a Haaland brace. In terms of my perspective as a non-Haaland owner, and of course I have Salah, I am probably expecting minimum 2 goals from Haaland, and that's probably being generous. But yeah, anything more than that I could probably be a small bit annoyed by, and the swing will be big if it is more than that. But anything less than that, and I'm delighted as a non-Haaland owner. And hopefully the funds that I've spread across my team, and even my captain Salah. Salah is not even a bad captain this week. He plays Brentford at home. And he looked amazing in that first game week. And like I said on Twitter, I think we've built a bit of insurance from not owning Haaland in the first game week. And I personally captained Salah in the first week. And that was a massive 28-point haul. So there is a difference of maybe 21 points, maybe 14 points difference if you had captained Isaac last week instead of a Salah. But yeah, going into this, I am definitely a small bit worried. But thankfully, Spurs play at 3 o'clock and on Saturday, the same time that City play. So I'll have no notifications on for the City game, and I'll watch the Spurs game in peace. And hopefully Spurs don't give me too much grief either. But yeah, going into this game week with most likely Salah captaincy. I have another graphic here to discuss, which we'll get into now actually, which is Son. Saying, my debate this week is Salah versus Son. Now, before you get into the comments and start ripping me apart, I thought this was unbiased. You're only captaining Son because you're Asian and you support Tottenham. It's not the case at all, and I'll give you some of my perspective on why I think that there is a small bit of an opportunity to maybe captain someone else that's not Salah if you don't own Haaland. I think Salah is a very, very, very good captain this week. Don't get me wrong. But Everton have so many injuries at the back. And I'll pull up a graphic here to kind of show it. They've got... Tarkowski is now out. Charmiti, who I think is a right back. Sorry if I'm pronouncing his name wrong. Brantwaite Kevin Garner, Patterson and Coleman, and Ashley Young that has a red card. Now, I'm looking at this and I understand that Son didn't play well at all in that first fixture. And I know our expectation for him in that first game was way higher than what we saw. People are saying that he played very, very wide, which he did. But I think in general, Tottenham didn't play bad. And I think it's important not to be too impulsive at the start of the season. It's very easy to jump the gun and say, just do Son down to a KDB or a Foden. But that transfer is worth a lot. And I just wonder, Everton at home, after losing 3-0 to Brighton at home, in the Spurs stadium, the home crowd will be behind the Spurs lads, and I can't imagine Ange will be impressed after that first fixture, so they'll be going for blood. So in my opinion, I think there might be an opportunity to go different with your captain this week. But then again, if you're not going to go there, and I completely understand why you wouldn't, and you would do a Son to Foden or De Bruyne, that's probably safer. But with those injuries, I wonder, is there an opportunity where you could pick up on points? And it's the start of the season. At the start of the season, you can take lots of risks, and this is where you can make up your ground. If it doesn't go well, you've 36 weeks to make up that lost opportunity. So the safe bet is definitely Salah, and I'm still leaning towards Salah. But I just wanted to include Son as a differential captain this week, where I think there is definitely a shout. And my camera's just after dying. 1 sec. So, before I was rudely interrupted by my camera dying, as I was saying, look, it's probably not the best on paper, but these are the type of moves that will elevate you from maybe 1.2 million in the world where I am now, which I'm quite happy with, but into the top 100k. For example, the variant swing could be massive because one, you don't already own Haaland, and two, if Salah blanks and everyone else that doesn't own Haaland captain Salah, and Son does quite well, who's only around 10% owned, you will see massive gains. And it's something I done at the start of last season, and that's what got me kind of to that next level, into that top 10,000, breaking in so early. So that's my little piece on Salah and Son. Let's go straight back into the team and speak about our forwards. Getting back into the team, we have Isak and Solanke up top. Again, very happy with this. I suppose we'll start with Solanke. He wasn't seen in training yesterday. Now, there is a press conference from Ange Postecoglou at 1 o'clock today. I'm recording this a bit before, so I will leave it in the comments if we do get an injury update on Solanke. My thought process, though, is if he's going to be injured, he's not going to play. It will be Richarlison, and I can't see him being subbed on. In that case, I will just get João Pedro on the bench for Man United at home. Before we get into Isak, let's get onto the bench. So, as you can see, we do have João Pedro on the bench. He's not on my mind too much about playing. United at home isn't a bad fixture in terms of attacking wise, but I can't see myself benching Nkunku at the Molineux. Next we have Barco, who has made his move to Sevilla. I'm not too worried about him. I think his price will be locked, so we can't see a price drop from 4 million down to 3.9. So again, I'll just hold on to him until I maybe wildcard. And Ben Johnson, who plays City this week, we won't even get into that, but the right back for Ipswich is injured, so he will get game time, and we could be looking at minus points if he were to play this week. And just behind me, I've got Ward for Leicester. But yes, Isak going into this week, Bournemouth away. I don't think he can make much of that first game because they're reduced down to 10 men, and he still managed to get an assist. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Isak bags a goal. Bournemouth away, definitely not the easiest fixture. But from an attacking standpoint, you could see Newcastle doing quite well. So we currently have 71 points after game week 1. I discussed my review on game week 1 in my transfers video. Again, we'll be doing a deadline stream. I'm holding on to my free transfer, and so far I am on Salah captain. But yeah, if you want more, there will be a deadline stream tomorrow, and I think we'll be going live about an hour and a half before the deadline. We currently are 1.2 million in the world, and I'm very happy with that compared to last year. This time last year, I was 6.2 million in the world. Haaland got a brace in that first week where everyone captained him. So, a bit of a better start this week. Again, the goal of this video is 350 likes. If you enjoyed the graphics, let me know. Give me feedback in the comments. I'm going to answer everyone. So, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next.